Hello and welcome to C-Suite, the CEO Chat. I am Shawana Kennedy, your host. I'm excited because if you were tuning in and if you saw us last week, I was joined and I'm still currently joined by none other than Toni Moore Esquire. And all of the things that she's been giving us, the gems that she have been dropping as it pertains to us being a business, us protecting our business, us protecting our assets, protecting our living legacies, right? The things that we want to leave for our family, our children, the people, our children's, and so on and so on and so on, where we want to be unforgettable as a person and as a brand, as a name. I'm excited because she is still here with me. It was so much information. I did not want you to miss a beat. I need you just to hang on. Let me get this young lady in here. Who? Toni Moore. Hey. Welcome back, Toni Moore. I'm telling them all of the things that you told us. They're going to actually have to go back and check out that part one. Make sure you check out the part one. Make sure you're following Toni Moore on all social media platforms. You already know she knows how to protect her name. So it's not hard to find her because she is everywhere, right? Toni, thank you for hanging in here with me because I am loving what you have been saying about us protecting our assets. You took us even to the business bedroom about what that looks like in having our assets protected. Just to kind of even recap, I know you said a lot, but just in case they needed to know what we were talking about, kind of recap some of what you actually went over in that first episode.
One of the biggest things that we did go over was appreciating that you are the brand, and that is definitely your forte with regards to it. But when they understand that that is their brand, that they can bankroll that brand within their business and set boundaries and appreciate how to protect the assets of the brand, whether it's their name, their image, their likeness, their sound. Also, with regards to partnering with individuals, how to pretty much appreciate that they can set boundaries. Because when they fully appreciate, like, and we'll go into it a little bit more on the financial side of the legal side of just building up yourself. It's like, I never understood when I used to work with Primerica Financial Services, and I didn't even understand when I got into the retirement community that the brand is the investment. Our personal brand is so much better. If we just invest, we get a better rate of return than any mutual funds. And people want to argue with me, try. But I've been in this financial sector since 1999, and it's been a while. Okay, so your girl has been doing it just as long as she's been a lawyer. And when I totally understood that, then that's when we fully understand. Like, some people are like, Tone, people don't know assets. Well, they will when I finish talking to me, because when you understand the brand is the assets that you bankroll in business, and it's the brand is the assets that you can get a better rate of return than any mutual fund, then you start protecting it. And then that's where we got into having those conversations from literally from the bedroom to the boardroom, how to set yourself apart by setting boundaries so that when you're playing this thing called business, you don't get played in business.
Yeah, I love it because the way that you articulate some of those phrases, I can't wait for, look, y'all better get ready because I'm going to load you up with these sound bites, these gems, these reels. So you get ready. You go see reels, because some of the things that you were saying, people really need to know. We know sometimes they do need them in bite sizes. That's why you have to be following the right people so that I believe what they say, what is it that the teacher is actually, to me, has always been there. It's when we are ready that we begin to see who we are called to lean in on for the things that we know that is a part of our design path at that time. Now, that's just me. I just believe that. And then that comes into with us we talked about even worth, talking about knowing our worth. And when you know your worth, not just who you are, but whose you are. I know that God put people in our path to say, this is what my child needs right now, right? In personal and in business. And in this, like I said, I know it had to be online. That's why you already know I speak about being online and your presence being known, meeting you some time ago and understanding what I needed to do to protect certain parts of my business during that time and having conversations, now
Mhm.
It's important, not just for my children, my husband. It's important for me. It's important for me to, like you said, your business is your biggest investment besides yourself. And if you are the brand, it's like you're investing back into all of that work. When we think about business owners and entrepreneurs, I know a lot of people have LLCs because you can go and get one today. We know we can get 10 today. How do you have the conversation with people who have done a few things right,
Mhm.
but now they understand the importance of moving a little bit past that, even potentially turning it into a corp of
Mhm.
some sort? Let's talk about that before we get into even that money part.
Yes, absolutely. Well, one of the things doing compliance for so long, I just know that one, compliance is currency. Two, it's like when you appreciate that business is a game and there's rules and there's regulators and there's fines and there's revenue, like any game. So pick football, pick basketball. I played basketball for many years. I'm almost 6 feet tall. And I just know that there was certain things that I couldn't do. Like I was not going to dribble the ball as though it was a tennis ball. I wasn't going to throw it and try to get a hole in one when I'm actually just going up for a layup, right? So when we're appreciating the business side of just ourselves, the business side of brand building, right? When you understand that, one, I always say this, that I'll keep it clean. Praise the Lord. I got to remind myself to keep it clean. Assets and assessments are
Yes.
so close. But when you understand that, I always say that you should always separate your assets from your assessments. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
How you do that is having a holding company. There's so many people who have LLCs because it's easy to do. And I'm just like, it's all good to have a limited liability company or two or three, especially when they're doing completely different things. One is a rental property, one is investment in other people's businesses, one is a nonprofit LLC, different types for different things. But you always got to make sure that if there's ever a lawsuit, what the plaintiff wants to get the attorney to do is scoop up your assets. Okay, they're going to make an assessment. So the question is, does it also hold the assets? A lot of people aren't thinking strategically with regard to it. They just start before they're ready. They don't take a business class, and a lot of people don't take a business class, but they learn from either the School of Hard Knocks, or they learn from a business coach, or they seek wise counsel, and they eventually learn from I'll say an enterprising lawyer, because there's so many different types of lawyers, trust me. Like there's so many different types of accountants, okay? So it's always good to just have a strategic plan with regards to asset protection. You already know your business. You already know you're the brand. You're already ideally have started to bankrolling, because there's nothing better than moneygasms that you can give yourself. Okay. Without having to worry about lawsuits or IRS problems. Okay. Just knowing that you put something out there, you had an ecosystem, and now you can distribute your songs or your books or your classes, and have repeat revenue without any risks. Solamente only rewards. But then when you're understanding that, okay, as far as businesses, you should have a holding company. I always get my clients, especially once they have more than one, or they sit long enough to hear me out, is to just try to have a holding company that holds their intellectual properties, holds their investments in other people's businesses, whether or not they also have like business property or real estate property, just to keep it from their business, where they make discernment, where they're consulting, where they're marketing, where they can be subject to a lawsuit. Okay, because business lawyers are business people too. And if people do not have the assets, we feel bad that you got. But if people don't have the assets, the likelihood of you paying an attorney $10, $20, $30,000, knowing that you're not going to get anything in return, because these people are pretty much, asset proofed, there's nothing that you can really do. It's smart to be asset proof. I'm working with a client right now. All I had to do was just look up his name, and I saw all of his assets, and I saw all of his real estate. And I'm just like telling people, it's good that you want to have a legacy with your name, like McDonald's and Louis Vuitton, but eventually you do need to have something like a holding company, like the celebrities, so that they understand the same way they understood is the same way you got to stand on your business too, and make sure that you litigation proof your assets, whether it's a contract, whether it's a holding company, whether it's setting boundaries around your partnership with either a post-nuptial or a business nuptial agreements, those things right there, because the assets are the way you make money. The brand is an asset. So you even have to not be so happy and grateful when the influencer shows up, say, oh, we want to pay you $50,000, because they already see that your brand, your social media platform is like, it's literally like it's investable. They know that they can make money because you have a fan club. You have people who know you, like you, trust you. You're part of an ecosystem, that people are wanting to be a part of. And so when you get brand deals, that's because they figure that you're a good marketing partner. And you better make sure that they don't even own, they just lease your bank.
Yeah.
So,
You know what, right there, it something that I recently was having a conversation with at an event that we were at, and looking at all of the speakers, and as things were, their slides and different things like that. It's even stuff that starts right there with having different disclaimers on your written work that I know I have in times past, going out to, even corporate trainings, there's different disclosures that need to be present, even in something as simple as our slides in a presentation, to protect what it is that we do, especially as a business. Unless you're, of course, presenting something that belongs to the business, that's a different thing.
Right.
But how do you let's talk to even the coaches and people like that, that's on that side, that they don't even understand that it's even little bitty things that they're doing right now that could hurt them later.
Absolutely. So as a coach, you always have to understand that first, your words matter. So whether you're speaking or whether you're preaching or whether you're a keynote or whether you're a facilitator, it's an ideal situation to literally take what your knowledge and then recordation of your knowledge then becomes intellectual property. And it's protected under copyright law. You can always go to copyright.gov, but just the recordation of your information is something that now you can leverage. Now you can set boundaries with regards to it. There's a lot of people who don't appreciate the recordation, or they say, hey, you can take this class and you can have it forever. Why are you giving someone access to something forever and they did not even invest in it? We don't have a forever contract with Word or Microsoft. They're like, you can lease this. It's a licensing agreement. So the same way the big brands do is the same way you can as well. But you got to have ownership. The power of ownership allows you to set boundaries. And it also allows you to get a licensing agreement and leverage what your information is. That's why you should own your songs. You should own your music. You should hire people. Treat yourself as a CEO, get the money, other people's monies, to invest in your business ecosystem so you can hire people. When you don't have money or you need hookups, by law in the United States, the person who creates is the person who owns. So if they create your pictures and you didn't pay them, they can cease and desist on you if they think that you're going outside of the boundaries of the rights that they have given you. Okay, that's with pictures, that's photographers, that's with musicians, that's with sound recordings, that's for producers. Taylor Swift had to redo her masters because she didn't have ownership. There's a lot of singers and songwriters. Anita Baker, someone else, I think Chance the Rapper just recently bought her masters, because when you own it, you can master it, you can leverage it, you can license it, or you can sell it. Like there's this company called Hypnosis Sound. It was Sound Fund. It's all in the UK. They have changed my whole life around with regards to intellectual property, because Niles Rogers was one of the co-founders. I don't see his name that often, but in the beginning, he was a co-founder. And I don't know who came up with the great idea to buy number ones. They bought number one hit songs, the catalog. They leveraged it. They made over $1 billion because they turned it into an investable asset. And one thing Niles Rogers said was that for him, every song was a business. So if you're a coach, What if you treated every training program as a business? If you're a singer, every song as a business. If you're a musician, every music as a business. You know, when you're, even with regards to name, image, and likeness, most people just thought, oh, that's for athletes. No, because you're the celebrity too. Okay. And when you appreciate that you're a celebrity, the same way that celebrities sometimes act like talent, I don't want you to be talent. I want you to be the chief executive officer of your brand, and being the CEO of your brand. Then you understand that you're leveraging it because it's business ownership. Even that was copyright 101. Okay. If you name it, you create it, you're designing it, you're taking a picture of it, you're writing it, you're singing it, you're a musician of it, you have a soundtrack or a manuscript for, you know, a script. If you take ownership, then you can leverage it. Okay. They call it exploitation, but you can exploitation for domination. If you don't, they treat you like talent. They treat you like a performer. You get a thank you and maybe a check, but you won't get that repeat revenue. And then when you understand you're the CEO of the brand and you're creating something, right, that's distinctive, not generic. Because I know sometimes people are like, well, you know, like marketers are like, you create something that people don't have to think about. I get that. But I also get that you got to be distinctive enough so that when people hear it, like it, know it, the answer to who is you. If I hear just Black women rock, okay, that could be anybody. Because if you're a Black woman and you think you rocking, then we all Black women rock. But I started creating a business called Legally Chic because I wanted people to be clear, harmonized in their spirit with regards to their moves. And, you know, also to appreciate that they needed to know what they needed to know. So I'm like clear, harmonized, informed, and also compliant, because compliance in my world is currency. So some people didn't get it, but some people resonated because they're like, oh, Legally Chic is different. So if anybody was saying Legally Chic, they're like, oh, you got that from Toni. That's so different than, oh, the business side of law. I'm sure I'm not the only person who say it. I'm probably the only person that teaches it, but it's still not distinctive enough that you want to be so distinctive that the answer to who is you. And that becomes an identifier of your business. As the CEO of a brand, I want you to be the CEO of the business brand. Like, okay, what do you call yourself? That is so distinctive that when people like it, know, and trust it, or they're being, being educated by it, like John Maxwell. I'm like, he's not the only one who came up with some sort of proprietary framework to help people create, you know, speaking or leadership or retreats or anything else like that. But he was one of the first ones who got known for leadership and speaking. And then people started being like, oh, I'm a John Maxwell trained, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, in the same way he did is the same way you could as well. Even if you wanted to be, you know, making.
How do you feel about that when you see those individuals? Because I understand the importance, of course, of getting with a like-minded person who you see as a mentor to learn certain things. But people who really, I don't know, for some, why they don't choose to even not step away from it, still be connected to it, but then represent who they are as a business and a brand. How do you have that conversation with people who do take the different courses? Because it's not only, we know it's not only John Maxwell. You got Tony Robbins, you got Lisa Nichols. You have a bunch that's what they do, and people learn through them, under them, and get great information. And it has actually allowed them to propel to things that they would have never thought that they could ever accomplish. How do you help them to have that conversation where they really do need to now stand out as their own brand?
Well, that's the main part. One of the things that me getting a chance to just be a milestone mentor, but also a business mentor to individuals, is to understand that, hey, you're called to serve. That means there is a solution within you. Something that you know, something that you suffered, something that you can take ownership of, something that you can utilize so that when people see you, they like you, they know you, they trust you, because it's a solution to their problem. Whatever that is, we all have a solution, right? And then when you understand, have that vision, because without vision, there's no provision. So a lot of people, because I've been known to take courses back in the day a lot, but I didn't have a vision. But when I realized that at the end of the day, I wanted to help people. I see law as a sword and a shield. I see law as the referee to help people who ain't never got nothing. I said it like that, to have something, to go from nothing, but only your brilliance, only your ideas, because that's most of us appreciate that we are creators. You know, we can sing, we can songwrite, we can dance, we can choreograph, we can do a lot of stuff naturally because we've been created by the creator to create. But when you appreciate that, it's no longer just about creating, but it's also about having ownership, going from creating to ownership. Then if now you got that vision of who you need to be to serve your solution, and now you take a piece of this and a piece of that, you know what I mean? As opposed to just sitting there. Because trust me, I've been sitting there like almost like a damsel in distress virgin, asking people how to give me money gasms. Okay. But until when I realized it's not about them, it's about me. When I realized that I needed to take ownership of who I felt like I was called to serve, what I was called to bankroll, how I was supposed to show up, then it was no longer about other people, because God ain't never tell them. I said it like that, even though I'm an Ivy League lawyer, but God ain't never tell them what he spoke over you. So when you take ownership of your vision, ownership of your mission, ownership of your steadfastness, ownership of the business solution that's going to help other people serve a problem that is worthy of being paid, then you're not going to get played in business. Because coaches usually, especially, I'm not talking about them, but they don't give you a customized formula. Some coaches usually just pick up their, somebody else's trainings and classes and templates, and they're not necessarily saying, who are you? What's your mission? What's your vision? They don't care about that. Mm-hmm. Most of the coaches are like, this is what I did. Follow me. Follow how I did it. I know this one coach, he charges $150,000 for his coaching program. And he always say, hey, it's okay to copy if you copy the right cat. Yeah. Well, if you're copying somebody who don't have the calling as you, who don't have the mission, don't have the message, didn't have that soulful problem, didn't take ownership of helping people lead them. Moses couldn't copy Abraham because his callings was different. But I'm not going to go there. That's another conversation.
see, she about to turn it. Anybody know? Look, he turned it. She trying to turn. Whoa. My mind. Because it was funny when you was talking about, copy as long as you copy the right cat. I definitely heard that. And yes. I wanted to say, look, I know, look, this is the PG. This is PG. Because it was like, then, and you wind up looking like a pussy. Then I'm just saying, we grown folks in here. I am excited about this conversation. I hope y'all loving it as much as I am. I wish I could be on the other side with y'all watching and hosting at the same time, because there's so many things that you are saying that I'm just excited, because one, having conversations with the young ladies such as yourself with all of your expertise and knowledge, it allows you to even take a sneak peek at and say, am I doing the right things that I should be doing? Right. So even as you're talking, I'm running through things that I do and like, okay, good, check. Or, okay, maybe I need to ask about that. But having that inside conversation that you have to be okay on the outside to say, I really do need to have more conversation. I really do need to ask more questions. I really do need to set up an appointment. I need to get on the right person's schedule, because you just can't be on everybody's schedule. I know, because as our time is drawing near, let's talk about money, just money real quick. What does it not only cost you, but it can benefit you as well? Let's talk about money for a minute. And then I want to know what's going on with Toni, what's next for Toni. And yeah, before we get out of here, I just need to know those. Let's talk about, we talk about CEOs, and the hope is that it does, that we get paid. I'm about be seen, heard, be known, and be paid. Mm-hmm. There's nothing wrong with that, because if you have the call, all of the things, it is so that we know, you said the compliance is currency, but we know that our gift will make room for us. But then God has set up provision for that calling, for the things that we get to do. And it's all right to be able to utilize that, because money really is just influence. It's influence, and it's utilizing that. So talk to us a little bit about the cost and the benefit, and what's next for Toni Moore.
Mm-hmm. So really, with regard to the cost, right? I'm always like, the cost is different depending on where you're at. Like if you're a software development company and now you're looking for VC capitalists, your cost is going to be a lot different than if somebody is a coach, which is going to be a lot different than someone who is a photographer, which is going to be a lot different than somebody who is a nurse practitioner who wants to have a home care and a home health agency, right? But I do know that there is a cost to being a boss. I do know that sometimes people will look for a volunteer or someone to give them the information or brainstorm with 20 people. And you may find somebody who do that. Not at my level. Because my thinking is if you making money, I'm making money too. Or we're going to be JV partners and I want at least 35% just because I said so, because you allowed me to just ignore your boundaries. But most people are like, no, I don't want that, because there's something inside of them, because they know, one, there's a cost to being a boss. And they also know that, guess what? Sometimes if you don't have it, there's classes, there's trainings. I did a lot of classes and trainings before I went to coaching. Okay. And then there's certain levels of coaching that I just won't do because it's just outside of my principles, that's just me. But when it comes to the legal side, right? When it comes to a potential lawsuit, I know most attorneys charge $10,000 to $20,000 retainer. So my thinking is, you pay $5,000 to get everything set up and have strategy sessions and get your trademark and your copyright and getting your game plan, your protection game plan in place, and having some plays that you can say, okay, if there's a partnership agreement, I'm going to set this up. If there's an influencer agreement, I'm going to set this up. If I'm bringing people in my ecosystem, are they going to be an investor? Are they going to be a joint partner? Who are they going to be? And these are the agreements, right? That's one thing. The worst thing in the world is to bring someone into your business ecosystem and there is no boundaries. If there is no boundaries, then you guys are partners. And guess what? Now you're looking at equitable distribution. No one cares that you were the influencer and the visionary and put all the money out. When there is no boundaries, the law is like, well, you guys are partners and they will treat you like 50-50. So that's why, we always have a conversation. How do you get from zero to legal? One, you appreciate that business is a legal entity. So as a legal entity, the only way to protect it and to build it is with the legalities that's governing your business entity. Okay. Not only that, but you got to be a forward thinker and think about having a succession plan if you decide that you don't want to do it anymore. Will you sell it? Because there's a lot of people who are buying other people's companies. And if you are thinking about selling your company, then you do need some assets, because as a lawyer who helps people buy other people's companies, we're always going to do a due diligence. And that due diligence is, okay, what do they own? Or there's any lawsuits? How can we repeat the revenue? Is it based on someone's personality, or is it based on products and services that have been branded, that have been, are licensable so that we can repeat the revenue? So that's one of the things most people aren't thinking about. They're just starting a business and they're so happy and grateful, but when you start appreciating that your business is an asset, sometimes it can be better than a mutual fund product that doesn't have the investment manager and doesn't have the fee upon fees upon fees. Ask me how I know. That's a different conversation, but it's yours. It's your brilliance that you had the knowledge and the wherewithal to bankroll. So when you appreciate that you can make money and you can save money and you can protect money, then of course you're going to have those legal strategies in play so that, guess what? Other people won't steal your money, or will they steal your living legacy or your legacy that now you're leaving. Because there's a lot of people they're like, I want to create generational wealth. Well, the only way to create generational wealth is if you generate income that's above and beyond your expenses, that now you can invest into other products and services. And now you can invest into other companies. And now you can invest into your own retirement plan. Most people are like, oh, well, retirement is a long way to go. That's good. That means you can really, really take advantage of compounded interest in your youth so that you can make sure that your latter days is greater. Don't wait till you're 65 and then all of a sudden trying to figure out what you got to figure out, because you missed out on that compounded interest and you missed out on leveraging your revenue and you missed out on some tax shelters that, is for the rich people. And here's the thing. You don't have to be mega rich. You just got to be a business owner.
That is so true. That's true. That's true. I love it. I love it. I know y'all love, tell me y'all love Toni. Tell me, say, we love you, Toni. Make sure you are following Toni Moore Esquire on all social media platforms. Yes, we're going to have to make sure that we get her back in here. We get her back in here before we say our farewell. What's next for Toni?
Well, what I am doing, I'm actually writing a book. It's called Don't Lose It. And it's 7 smart legal moves to create your financial fortress. Because, you know, since 1998, I've been in the retirement community. And I know that having that wherewithal to at least build a financial business and protect your financial fortress is something that we forget about. But when you appreciate you're building a business, it could be a cash building machine, or it can be something that is like your long lasting currency. However you see it, you still got to protect yourself legally. And then I'm always contemplating whether or not I'll put out the Legal Diva show, because that is my personality where, you know, I just talk all things legal, you know? So, you know, I'll talk to you about that because, you know, sometimes I'm so busy helping people and they're like, Tone, your personality is so crazy. Like, put it out there. So we'll see.
I love it. I love it. I appreciate you so much for pausing for the call to have the C-Suite CEO chat with me, Shawana Kennedy. Toni, don't you go nowhere. Let me get them out of here. Hey guys, I hope you, ladies and gentlemen, enjoyed this episode. Toni Moore Esquire, she is thebomb.com, giving you all the legal advice that you need as a business owner, as a CEO. What are the things that you need to do to continue to protect your assets? That's right, because she gave us so many gems. And remember, if you didn't catch the first part of this, be sure to go back and check out our part 1 of this episode with who? Toni Moore Esquire. I'm Shawana Kennedy, and I get the privilege to serve you on this side of C-Suite or CEO chat. Make sure you are following me, liking, subscribing, hitting that notification bell for opportunities such as this. I appreciate you guys. I thank you so much for joining me for this episode of C-Suite or CEO chat. Bye for now. This episode is brought to you by Kennedy Media, your ultimate partner in content creation, video recording, and digital marketing. Be seen, be heard, and increase visibility in your business. Contact us today at KennedyMediaLLC.com, KennedyMediaLLC.com, and unlock your brand's full potential.